Okay, so we had something bad happen to our truck. I was driving in town. I went up to a stoplight, took a left-hand turn, and our steering column locked up while I was in the turn. And I think either the locking feature failed in here. So this plastic piece just got busted up and kind of came open. And I think the locking feature's either busted or something in there is just not working right, because this is all floppy. And I know these do this, these GMs do this after a while. Pretty much all of them do. So we're going to take it apart and do the remedy and see if that fixes our problem. All you got to do is pop this off. That pops off. You can actually do that. Let's see. You can actually do that by hand. Put it back on there. Take it, pop it off. It's not a big deal. It comes right off. So then, these are either Torx, which is what this is. So for whatever reason, this one's Torx, or they're Phillips. So we're going to take these off, and then we got to take this nut off, and then we're going to take the steering wheel off, and we just put brand new turn signals in, and hazard switch, and everything else. So we got to take all that back out and hope that that stuff isn't messed up. Because what happened was the ignition no longer works at all, because there's a little rod that goes down and connects. Well, when I had to turn this when I was going, it broke off. So we got to fix that too. And we'll do that while we're in there. Alright, steering wheel puller. Comes in a little kit. The only thing you have to do here is match up which bolt matches your setup. So if it's the correct one, it'll thread in just like that, and you'll be able to keep threading it. If it's the incorrect one, then it won't thread in. So what that's going to do is you're going to tighten it down. There's 2 holes. You're going to tighten it down, and this middle one is going to force it off by pushing against the bolts. See that? So we're going to do that. Let me make sure I got the right size here. Yeah. We're going to do that, and then we'll be back once we get this off. We're about to see what I'm going to see. We might be shocked. It's coming off. Alright, so far, we got to take our little retainer clip off. Let's see. Hazards. Looks like this initial housing is still kind of together. It's just the rest of this is just... Look at that flop. Gosh, I was considering buying a new steering column, but most of them online are about $1,000 for this particular truck, unless you get a universal one. And all the universal ones have a dash ignition, and I don't really want to mess with that, if I'm being honest. This is just a stock truck, so... let's see. We need our other puller, and we'll get that and take this off next. Only take a second. This little tool right here cost me about 15 bucks on Summit. It's worth it. I've used this well over 10 times now. So I would use it. I'd buy it again. If you're doing this job, just buy one. It makes it easier. All you're doing is tightening this on the threads there. This is pushing down as you tighten, and you're taking that little retaining clip. That retaining clip, you can barely see it there. Let's see. That's what you're taking out. So this is, we'll just simulate this for a second with one hand here. I can't even get it tightened because of how it's sitting there. Alright, so tighten it down. Alright, then you put this against the metal, right? Little metal clip. Tighten this wing nut. Alright. And you keep going. Alright, you already see the retaining clip. Once you can get behind that and pull it out with a screwdriver, that's what you're going to do. You're going to fish it out of there, And I'm going to have to use both hands to do this, so we'll be back. There's our clip. See that? My preferred method is a screwdriver in each hand. Seems to work. As while you pry here, you can use another one to pry on the other side. Now all we got to do is make sure we don't deform this. Okay, we just pull it out. This has been out before, so I've done this a bunch of times. So once it's there, okay, once it's there, see, and that first groove, you should be able to take this off safely. All right, we're gonna go slow, as that is spring loaded. We don't want it to fly off of there. All right, it's coming back, coming back, coming back, coming back, and now we can take it all the way off. Simple. See? Perfect tool. Works great. Buy one. All right, so now we're going to take our clip, and we want to get our clip and put it somewhere safe. You don't want to lose this. Insert video of me dropping it. All right, so we're going to put this inside our little horn cap here. That'll be a good spot for it. It's not going to go anywhere. So then we're going to take this off. Let's take this back piece off too. Let's keep these two together. Yeah, keep these two together like that, so you know that's where they go. All right, next, this clip, this spring back here, that's what was holding everything. I don't know why, but every time, why is it that every time you see one of these videos, these have hair on them? Like, what is with that? Any video where somebody's taking apart their steering column, you're going to see the pieces like, well, they have grease on them anyway, but then they got hair. It's just crazy. Like, how did that get in there? Okay, so our switch looks good, but we got to take this out. All right, 3 Phillips are our next step. One right here that I already took out. One down here. And one down here. You may have to move your turn signal switch in order to get access to all of them. It's not a big deal. So next, we've got to pull all this out. So we'll do that. All right, we got not a good sign here. So we got this here. That would have to be rewired. So this whole thing really needs to come out now. Let's see, which one is that? You know what, I can't remember which one that is. I'm gonna try to, yeah, all of these are cut in different places. So when I went and turned it, because I went ahead and drove this home, and everything still worked except for the ignition and the windshield wipers, so that might be what that is, windshield wipers. We'll have to buy a new switch, which that's okay. This one was brand new, but hey, there's consequences of this stuff, right? So we'll take this out, and then we've got a wire here that was severed. Had 3 in it. I'll have to, 4, it had 4 in it, so I'll have to cut that apart and see where that went. And we can go ahead and pull this out now. Actually, I'm kind of thinking I might just replace this again. It's only about 30 bucks. That's why I'm thinking about doing that. Next, we got Torx. So the one Torx here holds in this ignition. And we got to take that out anyway because it's not connected to what it needs to be connected to. So you can see it's not even in there. So we'll take this out. It's not a big deal. One Torx holds that in, then the other 3 hold this little housing, and we'll pull this off and go further. Alright, this is looking less and less salvageable. So I took this off because this goes like right in here. And the dimmer switch is broken. So this little plastic piece that attaches to the dimmer switch that broke when all this happened. And the seat keeps making this annoying sound. It's really irking me. Well, you can see how floppy this thing is. I mean, it's all over the place. So this should be coming off. You know what? It's the dimmer switch that's holding it in. I gotta see where the dimmer switch plugs in. And then we gotta unhook that too. So after this, so we have these 2 on the sides, 1 on each side. You have to thread something in there, like a screw, and then pull it out. And then after you do that, on each side. You can pull this whole thing out. And then underneath there will be 4 little, usually they're torque screws, usually. And you tighten those back up. I've also seen people thread lock them. Not a bad idea. Probably what I was going to do if I got here and it was actually salvageable, but I can feel right up underneath here where those go. I can even look here. You can see this. Look at this. That is connecting with nothing. That is completely stripped out. This is our ignition. If the battery were connected, we could try to start the car. Start the truck anyway. That's what these are. And that one just got twisted to hell. And this, let's see. I see another one of these underneath here. Yep. That one's also stripped. Yeah, so these are stripped out. That's why this is just, look at that. Look at that movement. That is not supposed to happen. So they're all stripped out, it seems, except for maybe one. Nope, stripped out. Yep, stripped out. We can just keep turning this. Stripped out. And one was catching. So one is catching. The others are complete. Wait, no, that one's stripped too. So these are stripped out and they're just sitting in there. That's why this is, wow, that's why that's in the state that it's in. So what happened was when this was turning, look at that. That is just free. That is not supposed to happen. That is not supposed to happen. All right, so, yeah, we got issues. And it was doing that the whole time, by the way. So while I was driving down the road, what happened was this, since we know we're going to replace this now, I'll just not really be kind to it anymore. But I was turning it, and it locks up. So then I kind of freaked out, because I'm in the middle of a turn, and I've got a car that I'm about to hit. So I just yank on it. And when I did that, it just, it yanked free. And then I drove it the whole rest of the way home like this. And you can see no windshield wipers, you know, they were... whenever I got home, since it's a stick shift, I put it in first. I just dumped the clutch without any gas to kill it, and then I unplugged the battery. Alright, so I got this apart the other day. We found out we're not going to be reusing this poor thing, and we're just going to replace the whole steering column. I've got a new one inside. I'm going to take this one out. It's pretty simple. There's the firewall bolts. There's 2 here, 1 on each side. And then there is the piece under the hood that also needs to be loosened. There's 2 there as well. Alright, so, yep, right there, that's where we're at. So we got some wires above it here, yep. Definitely corroded. Well, not corroded, but covered with mud and dirt. Okay, so right there is where one of the bolts connects. You see, I got it kind of lower. There's the other side. And then you got to disconnect all this stuff. I've got some of it disconnected already, as you can see. It's kind of funny that I even need this flashlight, because it's about 6:30 a.m. and there's plenty of sunlight for me to see, but this camera, it just doesn't record low light very well. Alright, this bolt here gave me so much trouble. I couldn't find it. Okay, so first off, that bolt goes through there, and that's what holds it on. You can see it's had thread locker on it. So, it connects right here. Right there. Right through there. I couldn't find it because it was covered in mud. I had to search for days to find that. Alright. So now, we get to see. That's what it looks like after you got a hole in the firewall, basically. And then you got to put all this back in, and this goes on the steering column. These I unhooked. We'll show those right now. Alright. You've got, right here, you got to unhook. So, your column would be sitting, let's sit this on the ground. It'd be sitting in there like this. You got to unhook here to your ignition. That's where this is going to go to. That's where it's supposed to, anyway. Then, right here is where your turn signals are going to go. That's your turn signals, all that, your hazards, all your stuff there. Then, there's that little piece there on the other side that you got to unhook. I'm actually not sure what that one is. And then this one also unhooks. Okay, this is more than a few hours later. I've already had this in there, completely installed, basically. Couldn't get this on. Of course, why would it go on with it in the truck, right? Why would it go on? So I had to do it out here. I had to pull the whole thing back out. I basically had it half on multiple times. Would not go. No matter what I tried, would not go. I pull it out here. First try, goes right on. Don't ask me. I have no idea. But we'll go ahead and put it back in there. And finally this horrible job will be over. Usually these are kind of straightforward, but gosh, this sucks. I already had this wiring hooked up. Turn signal switch doesn't work, of course. Why would it? So got to change that. So I'm not even going to put the steering wheel back on. We're going to leave it off, and then we'll change out the turn signal switch. Alright, now I need to find some thread locker because we got to put this bolt back in. Alright, a couple of days went by. I got to put that in my scrap pile. Yeah, I didn't come out here yesterday because one of my good friends passed away. Somebody that I've been friends with since high school. We both went to the military together, and I hadn't heard from him in about a week, and I texted him, and his wife told me that he passed away. So I didn't really mess with the truck at all for the last couple days. I got this installed here, and we're gonna have to take this off using our handy dandy little tool here. We'll go ahead and thread that on right now. Actually, no, we won't. Yes, we will. I don't know what I was thinking there. Alright, and then I'll show you what we got, because we got a couple of items to put on the truck here. Yeah, speaking of my friend, I'm going to his memorial service on Saturday, which is, today is Monday, so it's a couple days away. And I don't use a cell phone, so I've got to memorize the trip up there. He lives up in Kansas City, and that's where they're having his memorial. I'm going to be taking my bike, that Royal Enfield Classic 350 there. 250 miles one way, so 500 miles round trip. And what I'm going to do is check the valves before I leave, and I'll check the chain before I leave. But we'll make a video of that, because I have a chest rig that I'll wear on the way up there, because there's a lot of backcountry roads I'll hit. But we went ahead and bought some of these connectors here. This is all they had. They didn't have the the official GM replacement stuff. They just had this. And I only needed one, but you gotta buy a whole pack now. So we got that, and we got our, let's go ahead and take this out. We got our switch, which needs changed. Look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? Brand new switch. And we'll have to reconnect our hazards and everything else. This is a simple job. Very simple, since we're already, disconnected here. And then I got some oil. They like this oil, man. They like this. This is what I put in here. I wanted to have an extra quart just in case. Just in case I ran a quart low or something, I wanted to have an extra. So we'll have this in here, and then eventually we're going to change this VR1, and we'll probably go to our Valvoline 1040, just standard 1040, because I don't actually know what cam is in this, but if I remember correctly, this has got a GM Goodrich 350 crate engine. Either that or a very late 70s, early 80s Chevy GM 350 block, or Chevy 350 small block. So I doubt it's got a cam that actually needs this stuff. Alright. There she is, back in here. And she's turned because when I came in, I turned it. I already took it on its maiden voyage, so it did great. The only issue I had, and I left this off so that we don't have the gear selector, as this one's actually for an automatic, and I went ahead and ordered it and put it on without any of the column shift stuff. And this, I finally have this. My old one fell off, so I didn't actually have a replacement. So it's nice to actually have this again. I just had like a piece of metal that was hanging out. But we changed over our lock cylinder. I didn't show that because I've done that before on my channel. I have a video where I did it for a Firebird. And I think also I did show how to take one out of a truck as well once, but maybe not. But we got the new lock cylinder, well, the old one off of our old column, so that our keys will work. So now our keys work. Everything comes on like it should. I left my turn signal on? Huh. I did have one issue. I didn't have brake lights. So what happened was, at the brake switch is right next to the turn signals on this truck. I had a wire that popped out, and I didn't have the replacement terminal for it, so I just had to make my own terminals with a little kit that I have. And so I rewired it and put it on. I put the wires on the wrong way. So I think the white one goes to the front and the orange one goes to the rear, and I flip-flopped it, and it blew a fuse. So at first, I was kind of concerned. I was like, why don't I have brakes? And then I checked my hazards, and they didn't work either. So then I said, well, wait a second. Those are on the same fuse. So I went underneath there, and sure enough, that's what it was. And I would have showed that to you, but I didn't have the camera out here. And I've been, honestly, just trying to finish this job. Because what could go wrong went wrong on this. So anyway, we got that completely done. And now the truck drives like it should. And it actually drives 1,000,000 times better. So now we don't have all that slop that we had before. So one thing we do need to address on this truck is this bed. Because this bed's got all this rust here. And what this is from is when I was active duty, I was gone for a long time, right? And after my dad passed away, this truck sat here underneath those two trees. And all the leaves in the fall would fall right down into this truck bed. And it would just hold moisture. And so now I need to go ahead and probably just take like a wire brush or a grinder or something to this and just take it all back down to bare metal if I can and just like rattle can it just to give it some kind of protection. But this used to be an old work truck. We would haul cordwood in this all the time. If you've ever hauled cedar cordwood, you know it's a tough job. Make a man out of you, as they say. So we used to haul that and haul cedar logs occasionally. This used to have a flatbed on it. And dualies. This used to be a dually truck with flatbed. And my dad changed it back over to a pickup. because he was kind of tired of the dually setup that he had on it, because he said every time we went to get new tires, it was just 2 extra tires he had to buy. Which is true. It is 2 extra tires. So we got her done, and next video that I release is going to be... The next video that I have on my channel is going to be about this bike. I did a little review on it, and believe it or not, I hit a deer on this bike. So you can't tell, because luckily the deer hit mostly me, and mostly missed the bike, thank God. And after I hit it, I didn't have my camera running. I turned my camera on, went back, and I thought I was just going to record where it happened, but the deer actually died. So the deer hit my knee and it killed it. And I went home, and then I came back, and I came back later, and somebody had taken that deer. So they saw roadkill, and they were just like, yeah, it's still warm, boys. Let's take her home. So, yeah, don't ask me. People do weird things. But, yeah, that's going to be the next one, and I'm going to my friend's memorial service. If I go on my bike, I might go with a friend in his car, but if I'm going on my bike, I'm going to film the whole thing, 250 miles up there and then 250 back.